What's going on YouTube? Got another knife review here for you. Today we're going to be looking at the Burchtree Bladeworks. This is the Midtech V2. This is a knife that's been out there for forever. By now they've already done, a V3 version, which is a smaller blade version. I don't know if it's a harpoon necessarily, but it's kind of, it's just a small version. There's the V1, which was the original, and this one was released years ago, but I'm just now getting to doing some reviews as time permits. But this was, I guess I wouldn't say a response to other Midtechs since he already did the V1. But this was a slightly larger, the largest of his Midtechs so far. Features a just under 3.5 inch blade, full titanium. I think these were done, I believe the CNC machining was done at Chad Nichols. I might be wrong, but a lot of the design elements are all the same as some of the ones that Chad Nichols did. So this Graham, the titanium spacers here are the exact same kinds. So I don't know, maybe they just got it from the same provider for the Burning Horizon as well, which is interesting. So now that I think about it, Burning Horizon was done by Bad Blood, so that's not Chad Nichols, but it's got some of the similar components in there. So, but I got this knife mainly, to me, I guess, the whole reason of getting Midtechs is to be able to get a feel, or get as close of a feel as you can to a genuine custom knife, or the fact that the custom maker has his hands and is putting these knives together and worrying about the fit and finish on these knives is kind of cool, as well as the design elements. This knife, from what I read, was modeled after his Impetus model. Boker Plus offered the Impetus as well in the production. Featured like 440C blade, a flipper, it was acid stone washed, and stainless steel bolsters and G10 scales and whatnot. And I really didn't see too many reviews on it or even care to watch. For me, I've kind of been done with Boker Plus based on a lot of my experiences with them. I don't know how many knives I've had. Some have been good, some of them kind of just really sucked. But when I was first talking to my bud JD, I was like, is this Birch Midtech, is it worth it? This is probably a year and a half ago or something. He's like, dude, this is one of the best feeling knives out there. And that's saying a lot, coming from JD, because he's got one of the best collections out there in the knife circle. So I took that to heart, and when this came up, I sprung at the chance to get it. And I don't regret it at all. This is a fantastic knife. Thick stock, double studs of CPM 154. Like I said, full titanium. The hole pattern, and the countersinking, on these holes is perfect. Again, I don't think Michael does this part of the knife, so whether it's a CNC and then he smooths it out, but it's just awesome. It's not the smoothest knife. I think it's on Teflon. Yeah, it's on Teflon washers. It's hydraulic, and I can flick it out, but it's not like a knife that really falls on its own weight. You kind of have to shake it. I don't know. I would say it's smoother than a Hinder, but yeah, it's not as smooth as some of the other Midtechs, and maybe it's just because it's not on bearings and whatnot. But here you have it compared to these other knives. This Graham's on bearings, this Mosier Bad Blood, or this Burning Horizons on bearings, this Quickens on bearings and HRD, Hoback roller detents. The Les George, kind of the original Midtech, is just on bronze phosphor washers, but I think phosphor washers are smoother. You can see this knife fall down on its weight. Here you have the Jeremy Robertson. This one also is not, as smooth. So it's kind of got that, that beastly feel, the Model 4 from Jeremy Robertson, Calvary Cutlery. I'm also very comfortable. And then, of course, you've got the Sebenza 21 large in comparison. So all these knives are pretty close matched up, you know, in terms of 3.5-inch blades. They're all 3.5-inch blades right here. You know, and so you can see some of the design elements, the differences here and there. Even the George here has got a 3.5-inch blade. If I can get that in frame. So, you know, a lot of similarities in terms, but, you know, each one's got its own aesthetic. Each one's got its own unique design. You know, Michael Birch has got that large nose, you know, thick blade stock. I always think it looks like a kind of like a toucan, like some kind of bird beak or something like that. So some people love it. Some people think it's really ugly. I think for me, it took a little bit of time to get used to the blade shape. I don't know if there's necessarily anything that's makes it more beneficial or you know, in terms of cutting ability, like whether it adds to anything. This thumb depression right here is kind of nice because you can kind of seat your thumb in there. I don't know if like jimping in here would be necessary or what, but and even there's like a little flat portion. It's not necessarily a choil, but you can put your knife, you know, on the, or sorry, you can put your finger on that blade ricossa in the frame. So it's almost like a little 50-50 flat choil, if you will, and you can kind of get up there to do some fine cutting if you wanted to. So, and you know, so some of these knives offer similar ergonomics. You know, whether this Burning Horizon, you kind of sit your finger in there as well. Not get too close to the blade though. And this Graham also has this flat from the flipper that you can kind of reach up to do some work as well. So, but anyway, I mean, other than that, quite honestly, you know, just in the knife world, I've come to understand that a lot of it has to do with names. If I'm being completely honest, you know, if this knife was made by, I don't know, Boker or made by Schrade or whatever, like, nobody's going to really want it as much. The fact that it's a Birch and a Midtech and it's well built, very, very sturdy, rock solid knife. I mean, this thing is a tank. There's absolutely no movement in this blade when locked up. You know, and the fact that it's Birch and he's put his work into it, it makes it highly appealing. You know, I'll be completely honest. And by now, I mean, this is May of 2015. I don't know. I'm being a little bit transparent here. I've seen a lot of people, it's almost like they're, I don't want to say coming to their senses, but they're not just dropping cash to get knives. I think a lot of people are being very careful, not skeptical, but they're just being very careful or very selective of the knives that they want. And oftentimes that's based on the name of the knife, the name brand of the knife, and the materials in the knife, and kind of just, yeah, like, I guess name is reputation as well. And so, you know, Birch has long since built up his credibility in the knife world. And so this is one that's going to, you know, not command top dollar, but it's well worth the money that you pay for these knives. The Graham, I feel like, is the same. Hoback has built up his reputation pretty well. You know, for Jeremy Robertson, I would say he's not quite there. I mean, he's built a reputation with his El Patron, and in general, it's been well received. But he still has some work to do. Les George, you know, he's got quality stuff. Kendrick and Mosier definitely, you know, Mosier's custom stuff is pretty amazing. And I think if this were a Midtech from Chad Nichols, I think it might have been a little bit better. It's not bad, I'll be honest. Bad Blood, I feel like, did a pretty decent job, but this had to be at least for me, my model, I think it was heavily customized to make it a little bit better than what it originally was from Bad Blood. But yeah, anyway, I'm kind of just rambling on now. Overall, I really like this Midtech version from Birch's Impetus. I think it gives a good representation of what his customs are like. I've never touched a custom Birch or handled one, so I would love to be able to get my hands on a real one of these days. Overall, the design isn't my favorite. I don't know. I just prefer other ones, but I still like the fact that I have a quote unquote Birch in my collection. Kind of rounds it out a little bit better. So anyway, those are some of my thoughts on the Burchtree Midtech version 2. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you guys on the next vid. Take care. Bye.